Aflatoxin is caused by a fungus named Aspergillus flavus that is found in the field naturally. It's there everywhere. It's there in the soil, it's there in the...
It's used in the animal system and can be transmitted to humans with the far-reaching health implication.
Aflatoxin exposure begins even in the intrauterine life when the baby is developing.
It can lead to death if it is consumed in high doses over a short period of time.
Governments must put in money, just as we have been putting in money in other emergencies.
Aflatoxin is caused by a fungus named Aspergillus flavus that is found in the field naturally. It's there everywhere. It's there in the soil, it's there in the crop, it's there in dead insects, dead organic matter, it's there in the air, it's everywhere. So that is the fungus that actually causes aflatoxin.
Aflatoxin affects the health of our population, because once you consume it and it keeps building in your body system, it can lead to a number of health challenges, from the problems of liver and other dysfunctions in the body, and also it leads to stunting of young children, and stunting reduces the physical, mental and psychological development of children, and this is not good enough. Apart from the fact that it kills people, has a negative consequence on agriculture, on food security, because if you have your grains of maize, rice or any other commodity, or even animal feed, it would lower the production and productivity of those crops. Member states also suffer when their crops are infested with aflatoxin, because before you can export any agricultural commodity, it has to be aflatoxin free. There are various standards established by the Codex Alimentarius Commission on the levels of aflatoxin. Different governments in Europe and the United States have also standards. So if you don't meet those standards at the point of export, if you export those commodities or crops that are infected with aflatoxin, they will be rejected. And that's a serious economic and financial loss on the part of the farmer, on the part of the exporter, and also on the part of our member states, because those goods will not be accepted in international trade, and you cannot generate foreign exchange for your country, which is very important for socio-economic development. So aflatoxin should be seen from a developmental perspective. It affects food security, it affects human health, it also affects trade, whether international, regional or even national trade. It results in the loss of millions of dollars of income for West Africa and even the continent. The ECOWAS Commission is the regional economic bloc for West Africa, and it implements the Comprehensive African Agriculture and Development Program, CAADP, and the CAADP has been domesticated in West Africa. We have what we call the ECOWAS Agricultural Policy, called ECOWAP. And from the ECOWAP, we have developed both regional and national agricultural investment plans for food and nutrition security. So we have plans at two levels, at the regional and at the national level. Now, as part of our mandate, as part of the ECOWAS agricultural policy and the various plans, the issue of food safety, food quality ranks very, very high. And it is in that vein that the ECOWAS Commission is intervening in the fight against aflatoxin. As a result, the ECOWAS Commission, as part of its agricultural policy, has put in place a mechanism to control the spread of aflatoxin in West Africa. And it is from that perspective that we have been partnering with a number of institutions, both at the regional, at the continental, and even at the level of the member states, to work together to control the menace of aflatoxin in West Africa.
There are solutions at the pre-harvest stage and there are solutions at the post-harvest stages. Most of the solutions are at the post-harvest stages. These solutions are something like timely harvest, good drying, good storage, good transportation practices. There are food processing methods by which you can actually manage. In the pre-harvest stage, there are not many. There are actually very few solutions that farmers can think of using. And most of them are uneconomical or they are very difficult to follow. The only solution that we have found commercially available is the biological control. And this is something that we have been promoting. But when we say that use the biological control, we also mention that use the other practices too. Although biological control can cut down the toxin levels dramatically in the field, we need to protect the grain in the store as well. In the store, if you have biological control or what we call as the Aflasafe product, the pre-harvest treatment will have post-harvest solution, but you actually need to maintain good grain integrity.
Aflasafe in West Africa, and I can say with all degree of certainty, is a big contribution to the advancement of food security in West Africa and the African region. ECOWAS is implementing the program developed by the Partnership for Aflatoxin Control in Africa, PACA, but we are not limited to that. We have also, as a commission, signed a memorandum of understanding with the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IITA, based in Ibadan, Nigeria, to address a whole range of agricultural issues. And one of those issues is the issue of food quality. And to be more specific, is the issue of controlling aflatoxin with available technologies in the region. Apart from the memorandum of understanding that we have with IITA, we also, as a commission, do a lot of advocacy, with our governments, with the leaders of our countries, with decision makers and policy makers, to constantly remind them that aflatoxin is a reality and the consequences of aflatoxin on the West African population are very grave. The ECOWAS Commission, with the support of the Partnership for Aflatoxin Control in Africa and the African Union, PACA, we have developed for West Africa an ECOWAS aflatoxin action plan. This aflatoxin action plan for the West African region is a holistic plan in which we are looking at all aspects of the problems of aflatoxin, from the agricultural and food security perspective, from the health and human development perspective, from the trade and economic perspective. So we have got this plan, It has been developed, it has been validated and even approved by the authorities of ECOWAS, the political authorities, our ministers, our heads of state. And we have started the process of operationalizing the plan with the support of PACA and other development partners. Our advice would be for these governments and for our member states in the ECOWAS region to treat aflatoxin as a serious developmental issue. It transcends agriculture. It's also a health challenge. It's also a trade challenge, you know. So it's for us at the level of the ECOWAS Commission, we see aflatoxin infestation in the region as a developmental challenge. So our governments, our member states, public, private sector, civil society organizations should all come together to join hands to address the challenges of aflatoxin. And this calls for investments. Governments must put in money, you know, just as we have been putting in money in other emergencies that arise in the region from time to time. Governments must invest in reducing the negative consequence, the effects of aflatoxin on our livelihood systems, on our populations, and on our economy. So it calls for investment. That is very, very critical.